Hey, it's me, Ted. Hi. The purpose of making this video is to archive an important part of my childhood, and that is the story of Prefect. I actually have some documents right here. They serve to really show what the history was, what it was when we grew up. I grew up and my friends to make this crazy little game called Prefect. And I'm going to go over what Prefect was. First, though, I wanted to show you is the envelope, this manila envelope that I had that held all of the documents that kind of first struck my memory and why I wanted to make this video. I've got some water right here because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. Here it is. It says gaming documents, and this is when I closed this envelope, which was July 1st, 2007. First, well, this is what it was in. This is what was in there. This is documents. It's pretty thick. It comprises of actually two notebooks. One is a Mead composition book, and one looks like to be a spiral notebook where the cover has been ripped off, and it looks like every single page in the spiral book is being used. Like Minotaur, that is just a sign that we had in middle school, and the rest are just writings. In fact, the rest of these are loose leaf pieces of paper right here, and this is all writings. This is all stuff, and some of these are actually printouts. This is only a fraction of what we were doing because we were constantly writing. Everyone who is an author of prefect literature, everyone was writing. And I'm sure there's probably 4 times. Realistically, this is about a quarter of the materials, not half of the materials, maybe between half and a quarter. There's plenty more. First, though, I wanted to start off with this. This was a book. It's duly signed. I'm going to put this up here, see if you can read it. It says Edward Hauser and Gene Wilson. There's a T there to make fun of Ted Ward Hauser. Obviously written in Bic pen. I was writing in like a thicker Uniball pen. And obviously that's Gene putting her smiley face and tongue sticking out. So she was making fun of me then. I kind of had a crush on her. First Asian girl that I had a crush on. Very important there. Anyways, this was just a story idea, and it looks like I've kind of flipped through this already, that this seemed to be just random ideas. They weren't specifically having any type of significance to the greater narrative of Prefect. In fact, some of these are just kind of silly. Cavern of the Mystical Cows. This, I think, is not very important. In fact, this is only about a quarter filled out. Most of these are blank pages. I read through this. This is really silly ideas. I think probably I was making them with Gene. I was kind of writing them in class while I was in study hall with Gene, and I was like writing them as a way to like impress Gene. I'd like maybe write like 2 pages and hand them off to Gene, and she would read it and she would laugh. I was just probably trying to make her laugh. I wasn't very, good at many things. I was trying to impress her. I was trying to like get her to like me, and I thought the only thing I was really doing at that time was writing. I was really a creative writer, and I thought that she would be impressed by my creative writing abilities. Also included is an important short story, The Mole Machine, written by Luke Keller. This was a story in which Luke wrote at the career day. I think he was bored, and there was a career day, and he wrote this story on lined paper. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper, and front and back. So it's 10 pages long, and it's the story of what I remember is a mole machine by the mole men, actually the rat men, the Skaven rat race of people that were fighting in the original Warhammer fantasy saga. So this was the Warhammer from like the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages. Not quite Prefect, well, inspired off of Warhammer, probably in the world of Prefect. Luke made me promise to read it, and I actually I wrote at the top there, read. That's my handwriting, right there, read. Still haven't read it to this day. I'm an asshole. I'll probably read it at some time. I promised Luke to read it 1997, 1998, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. I should probably read it, and I'll probably read it today. Really bad handwriting though, but I've kept it in this plastic, so it's intact, and maybe one day I'll end up reading it. This was something that slipped out because it's obviously a small piece of paper, and it's something I really wanted to highlight. This is I guess it's a little booklet, and I was meaning to create. I created this. And I created this as a way to create like an interactive piece of literature for the role players, not like just something that I would read off of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This is an actual document that I was going to hand off to the players, as if this is a way for them to learn. And I want you to take a moment out to look at all the details that I did here. If you look here, I burned the edges. I burned the edges here. And this was a piece of paper that I cut out and I wrote on here. I wrote The Dragon Isle by Alexander Horum. I would always create names. I was creating names like fantasy people, and I guess this was like one of their names. And what I want to say is this is a pretty incredible piece of writing for such a young, uninspired person. This booklet, this pamphlet, The Dragon Isle, is only 3 pages long. The first page is the introduction to the Dragon Isle, and this chapter is titled The Dragon Isle, and I read, "Before the Great Destruction, this island was inhabited by many dragons, but after it split into 3 parts, green, blue, and red, each one of these sides controls one element of the dragon's magic, and after that, the dragons that are left fight in skirmishes that tremble all of Prefect." Wow, that's some great writing there. The second chapter is entitled The 3 Parts, which goes into detail on the 3 parts. When the island of the dragons split into 3 parts, the dragons took sides and fought against one another, and no one knows why. The 3 parts are distinguished by color. The red side represents heat energy, which is lava, fire, and flare dragons. That's 3 different types of dragons. There would be a lava dragon, a fire dragon, and a flare dragon. I don't know the distinction currently between a flare and a fire dragon, or that of a lava dragon. I don't even know how a dragon would control lava. I guess you'd have to fly around a volcano and like trick people to coming close to him, and he's like, "Ah, I got you with lava magic." And then I continue. The green side represents life, healing, and monster dragons. I don't understand why healing. I get green healing. It's energy, it's power, like oxygen. Monster dragons. That's life. Because sometimes it's kind of redundant. I thought a dragon would also be a monster. Finally, and I can continue reading. And the blue side represents chaos, chaotic, and skeleton dragons. Because skeletons are, I guess, I associated them with the power of chaos, which is actually a rendering, a stealing from Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000. Chaos was initially created by them. So that was something that kind of couldn't, a criticism there. That's something that was really, I would say, trademarked by Warhammer and Games Workshop and Citadel Miniatures, the corporations that control Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000. That was like their invention. Chaos, the evilness of quote unquote chaos was their creation and their intellectual property. And if Prefect were ever to become something significant, we would run into that problem. Orcs, it was created by J.R.R. Tolkien and has been kind of now that's considered public domain. Elves and dwarves, of course, have been around for thousands of years. Goblins, although these were used by J.R.R. Tolkien and inspired by Warhammer, and really Warhammer came out directly of Tolkien. And in fact, when the Lord of the Rings films became very popular, Games Workshop and Citadel Miniatures, the companies that run Warhammer, created a Lord of the Rings game. So it was basically essentially the kind of wall dividing Warhammer fantasy and Lord of the Rings was kind of that kind of fell, and they offered a box set of Lord of the Rings. So, and essentially, you were playing Warhammer Fantasy, but like they drew the miniatures something close to what the Lord of the Rings movies were. So, anyways, Chaos that can't really be used by us, and if we ever sold Prefect, we would have to make those changes. Anyways, the last page, and I digress, is the Sea of Chaos, and it shows the breaking up of the Dragon Isle. I think this was meant to be a part of an association of a story we did where the travelers of the original Prefect version 1, traveled to the Dragon Isle, or the Dragon Isles, and they needed like a backstory. So that's what this was. Finally, maybe the thing that I should have really led with was the map of Prefect, and here it is. This is originally a rendering of the original map right here, which is probably the second most important thing we have. First most being the actual map. This is the original. So so I can make photocopies of this. This is a photocopy that we drew on. So this is the original, and this is very important to keep the original because everything I did, just as how I created all of the templates and all of the character whatevers and all the maps. It was all hand drawn, and then I kept the original, and then I made photocopies from a fax machine, and so I was constantly photocopying things. So everything was a photocopy, and this is the most important piece, I think, because it shows the mythology and how all the little races fit together. But if you notice in here, all the lines drawn in pencil are the routes that we took. And